What's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode here in NHL 24. And it's been a little bit of an interesting season, I would say, with this Jets team so far. We've had some inconsistencies. However, we are 20-14-2, which has us in a wild card spot. So we've been playing good enough to make it into the postseason so far up to this point. However, it has still been a little bit of a weird season by any stretch to our normal type of season, because normally we completely dominate, but this season has had some, like I said, inconsistencies with our roster. You can see we've had some pretty good depth scoring, I would say. But there has been some underlying problems you could see, as well as there's some guys that are kind of underperforming a bit again, like Walter, who only has 13 goals in his first 36 games. So he's definitely not been doing as well. He's also -5, which is not great. We also did have an injury to Aiden Irving early in the season, and he's still not back for like another month, but he was on a torrential pace in his first 13 games with 11 goals and 15 points. I'm thinking this might be his last year in his NHL career, which is pretty concerning. So hopefully that isn't the case, because if it is, then we might have to get to the end of the series rather quick. And then, yeah, there's other guys that have been kind of doing a little bit, not as much as expecting. Vernarski's been solid as a rookie. He's also been quite aggressive. And then we're not getting really a lot of points from our back end. The one guy that's kind of surprised me the most in terms of not picking up a lot of points has been Sasha Kress, who we acquired from the Dallas Stars to just basically solidify our defense a little bit more. He's a two-way defenseman, yet he only has 5 points in 36 games. So I'm hoping that he can obviously pick up more offense in the second half, because right now he's getting outplayed by Visainen, who's only an 81. So it would be nice for Crest to start getting offense going as well, because he's also getting outscored by a DFD in Scarlet, which is really, really weird, and also Backer too. So we definitely need our offense on our back end to pick it up a little bit more. It could be because we have a lot of right-handed defensemen, so maybe there's a chance that DePenta could get into the lineup and we could move out somebody on that top six pairing, and that way we have maybe some more offense flow through our back end a bit. And then our goaltending has been interesting so far. Bergqvist has a 909, which is pretty much like, I think, close to league average. And then Ivan Kalinin in his first season so far has been a very good backup through 5 games. So hopefully he continues on that pace, because that would be very, very nice. But also another thing is Jaquezie is a pending UFA at the end of this season. So I'm a little bit scared that he's going to still have a really good season and didn't want to get paid a ton of money, because I don't know if we're going to really have that money this offseason to bring him back, unless we are to trade away at more guys like Bulbrook on the roster this offseason. But yeah, we're starting to definitely run into those problems where we don't have a lot of salary cap and we have big guys to resign. So kind of sucks that it's like that, but that's the way I guess it works after you win so many Stanley Cups. But anyways, let's get in your guys' comments now and see what you guys have to say about last episode. And then we'll probably end up simulating the rest of this regular season. It just depends, I guess, on how this team simulates. And then we might be able to simulate the rest. So the first comment is from Sound Otaku. It says, hard to get a read on this team given the somewhat inconsistent play. Probably time to give serious consideration to moving Walter. I also think DePenta deserves a chance in the top 6. If for no other reason, then you'll have another left shot defenseman playing regularly. So he's saying about potentially moving out Walter, or give at least some consideration to moving him out, and then getting DePenta into the defense, of course. So what I would think about getting DePenta into the defensive core is probably a good idea. He obviously is not making a ton of money right now. We do need to free up cap space eventually to get Jaquezie back, right? So guys like Reese, who are making 1.7, that's not terrible, but Scarlett making 3.85, I don't think I'm going to be able to afford him for another season after this season. So it might be an idea to basically have one of these two defensemen get traded, and then we could probably get DePenta into that top 6 pairing. And then we could bring in a depth defenseman that's making less than $1 million potentially. There's also the chance, I mean, we could always move out Backer, who's making a little bit more money to free up that more cap space. He would probably be a prime candidate this offseason, at least, to move out to free up cap space to get Jaquezie back. But I think if I was going to move anybody right now, it might be Reese, even though he's technically not making that much. It'd just be more because that way we have an OFD next to a DFD, because if we have a two-way defenseman next to an offensive defenseman, I feel like that pairing could give up a lot of goals. So I think I'm going to be leaning towards potentially trading Quentin Reese in this episode, bringing in a depth defenseman for him, and then we could get DePenta in full-time. And also he could probably get some power play time too. and we'll see if his offense ends up doing really well, because he has 2 goals in his first 3 career games. So there is a chance that he could end up being really solid if we get him into the lineup. And then he was mentioning about potentially trading Walter, and I totally agree. I think Walter's been kind of a really weird player. I don't know about trading him necessarily right now, but maybe at the draft or something. But he had a really good season a couple of years ago. But then we gave him a big contract extension, and since then he hasn't been really the same player. I don't know if it's just because he's actually listed as a third-line scoring forward when we thought he was a top 6 forward or what, but he's definitely been outpassed by Taylor Blunden, I think, in the depth chart. And then obviously we do still have Aiden Irving, who could retire this offseason, and maybe that doesn't make us want to move out Walter, because obviously Aiden Irving's also playing left side. So maybe once Aiden Irving retires, that'll give a bigger opportunity to Walter to actually start living up to his expectations a bit. So maybe that's something we want to do. Maybe I could actually put him on the first power play unit too. That second power play unit's really not that good, to be honest, but I don't know if I would want to make any adjustments with this team right now at this stage. But yeah, once Aiden Irving's like retired, maybe that gives an opportunity for Walter to actually start scoring more goals again, because if we look at his ice time and his amount of goals that he's scored, looks like he hasn't been getting as much ice time for sure since those days, because he had 17 goals, or not 17 goals, 17 minutes with 9 power play goals, 10 game-winning goals that one season where he did really good. Then his ice time dropped down by 4 minutes, and he went back up by 2. So if we somehow are able to get him onto the first power play unit, maybe he'll actually start converting a bit more. So you know what, let's go ahead and actually do that. We'll take Waters and move him to the second unit. This is usually where Aiden Irving plays, so we are going to have to make some adjustments once Aiden Irving returns from injury, but let's get Walter on the first power play unit and see if that could help spark his offense a little bit. And then we would give Waters the second line power play, so then he could potentially get some offense going, even though this is his rookie season. So we'll do something like that, even though that makes it worse, though, to be honest. Is there anybody else that hasn't on the power play that could work there, though? I don't think so. Jaquezi should be on the power play, correct? Considering he's leading our team of points. Yes, he is. Okay, just got to double check on that. I just want to make sure we're getting as much offense throughout this lineup as possible. Is Blunden not on the power play? I don't think he is. Oh, no, he is. He's on the point. That's why. Okay. That's good that Blunden's on the power play. I was going to say if he wasn't, I would be surprised. We could get Mashenko on the power play just temporarily. Yeah, we'll do something like that. Just get Mashenko temporarily on there. Just because he's not that great anyways. He's more of an offensive-driven forward, so might as well give him some power play time and see if that could help those guys out a little bit in terms of offense. And the last and final comment is from Michael Dose, who says, have absolutely no idea how this team plays next season. I could see 50 wins or 35 wins. So yeah, it's a very big wide margin with this team. We don't really know what to expect from this team this season and also next season and seasons beyond this, because our team could completely drop off. We do have a lot of good prospects that are starting to develop nicely, but we also do have a lot of cap problems, which means we're going to have to offload some people that are making a ton of money. AKA somebody like Jerry Bickle would be a good candidate to free up a ton of cap space if we want Jaquezi back long term. However, actually Jaquezi is younger than Bickle. I didn't even realize that, I don't think. But yeah, we might have to offload some of the veteran guys that have been here for a while if we want to actually have a realistic salary cap. I think also letting go of Kress at the end of the season will be okay, though, because obviously him being only signed for 1 year at 9.3, I don't think I'm going to afford to bring him back. So maybe that'll help out things a little bit. I'm trying to think if we want to readjust the defensive pairings before we trade away Reese. I don't think so, because obviously we're going to take him out. I did really like Reese, but I think he's probably the best option to go. He's a good goal-scoring defenseman, but I want DePenta in the lineup. Maybe we should actually put DePenta on the power play. That actually might be a better option. So we'll probably look at that here. So if I go to power play and go to power play 2, I could get Bulbrook up to there. We'll take Mashenko off, and then we'll get DePenta on this unit for the time being. Yeah, we'll do that for the time being, just to see if DePenta could get some offense going. And like I said, we'll probably trade away, what's his name now? I'm thinking, yeah, Reese, right? Isn't it? Yeah, it's Reese. I'm pretty sure it's Reese, right? Did I just... Oh my goodness, right? It's gotta be Reese, right? Yeah, okay. I was just thinking because I have Reese and Scarlett, if you guys know. I'm pretty sure there was a former defenseman in the NHL named Reese Scarlett, so I was confused for a second. But let's see. We'll need a depth defenseman from a team if they have one. Let's see. Do anybody have a depth defender? Again, it's actually listed as depth, not a top 6. So there is Glebov, maybe? No, Glebov's a top 6. Chorney, top 6. Sarenheimo's got to be depth. Oh, he's actually a top 6. Never mind. Okay, so Buffalo really doesn't have too much. We go to Carolina. Actually, Carolina's a good team. I want to send them to a team that's not doing too well, if possible. Dallas. It's in our division. Let's see. Julius, top 6. Harrison Green's a top 6. Lombardi's an AHL defenseman, so there's nobody really there either. Seems like there's a lack of depth defensemen on some of these teams. The Edmonton Oilers, definitely not doing too well this season. Antropov, who's in the AHL, is a depth defenseman, is a two-way, just like Reese is. Might not be a bad option. Has never played an NHL game, has been a pretty solid AHL defenseman. Yeah, you know what? Oh my goodness. Yeah, you know what? Dmitry Antropov could be that depth defenseman for us, because Jake Sanderson's not really what I'm looking for either, especially at that cap hit. So this deal might go through on its own, Reese for Antropov. However, Antropov technically has potential, but he's already 25, so he's not going to reach that potential. So I'll see if this goes straight up and works. Reese for Antropov. Too far off. Wow. That's kind of surprising. They're the exact same overall, and one's listed as a top 6, one's listed as a depth defenseman. It's kind of weird. Do they have any interest in any late draft picks? They do. Okay. Well, we'll give you a 7th round pick involved as well. If you give me... Actually, I think I could get really anything else if that... Yeah, I guess I'll have to do Reese in a 7th for Antropov. A little bit of an overpayment, and they do say that they made out like gangbusters, but there's literally nothing else in terms of value I could get to do that. So, Reese has been dealt, and we do have ourselves a depth defenseman now, which we will call up from the AHL if he's down there, which I don't think... Oh, no, here he is. He is a 76 only, not a 77. Does make us a little bit weaker on defense, but obviously we could still upgrade as the season goes on. But now that gives an opportunity to DePenta to bring some offense to our back end, which is something we don't really have a ton of other than Vandermeer now, considering we traded away Goddard in the offseason. So anyways, we are good to go. Let's continue to simulate, and hopefully this team stays winning games, and then it's an easier time for us to simulate the rest of the season in this episode. So let's go to January the 31st. That will be getting closer and closer to Aiden Irving's return. He is back, I think, in February, if I'm not mistaken. We've lost 2 games in a row, 3 games in a row. Oh boy. There's a win. No, there's another win and a loss. We're still very inconsistent. And it's kind of scary that we could end up not making the playoffs this year if we fall too far off. But we're on a 3-game winning streak now, so at least that's good. Final 3 games of the month, a loss, and the last one against Ottawa is a win. 26-21-2. I don't know what's with this team right now. We are now 2nd worst in our division. Yeah, we're in a really weird spot at the moment. Like, there is a realistic chance that we might end up missing the playoffs. However, we're only 1 point back of a wildcard spot still, so we are still in that wildcard hunt. However, this division is really strong. The last team has 48 points, and the last team in the Pacific has 41. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be a really tough matchup to get into the playoffs at this rate. We are definitely going to still try and get into the playoffs, but this team needs to be a lot more consistent. I don't know if it's just because of Aiden Irving's injury that we're suffering a little bit of losses here still, but he should be back relatively soon, I think, right? Let's see. February 12th, damn, it's still like 11 days. This guy's literally missing the entire season. Alright, so we need to make some line adjustments here to try and get somebody to spark this team. Let's go Walter top line just to see if that will help him out a little bit. We'll go Bohms. Mashenko can go 4th line. The rest of this should stay the same. Defensively, we are going to split up Kress and Vandermeer. We're going to go Backer and Vandermeer, Visainen and Kress. And then that pairing could stay together. And then we could still run with Bergqvist, who dropped down to a 906. So he got worse. Kalinen's still been playing great as a backup right now. So yeah, this team is still very inconsistent, and I don't really know what the reasoning is to it, because our team isn't really that much different than prior seasons. Oh well. Well, we need to have some wins here, boys, because if we start to lose more, I might have to find a new coach again. I don't know if it's the coach shit or what, but there's no really a lot of good coaching options out there. We have literally an A- coach, and he has not been getting us to wins. That's 60% team fit. That's a bit concerning. I don't know if there's any better options out there. I don't think so, right? Kolyakovo. Same type of thing, but an A rated. So he is a little bit better, but not by much. 60, 50. Yeah, I don't think there's any other coaches I would bring in really to this team. So we just got to hope that we eventually turn it around here. And once Aiden Irving returns, maybe that's the spark the team will need to push into the playoffs. But we just go on like 3-game winning streaks, and we lose like 2 to 3 in a row as well. It's very weird. I don't really know why we're simulating like this bad, because we've never simulated this bad before. But obviously when our head coach retired after we won all those Stanley Cups, I think that's definitely the turning point with this roster when it started to fall off quite a bit. Aiden Irving is back, and it's a little bit early, but that's okay. I am happy that he's back. Okay, so we got to readjust our lineup again here. So we'll take Mashenko out here, and we'll get obviously Aiden Irving into that spot here. And then Aiden's going to go right back to the top line to help it out. And then we're going to go to the power play lines, and we're going to take DePenta off the power... Actually, I might take Kress off the power play. He's only got 10 points. How's DePenta done? 5 goals and 7 points. No power play goals so far, though. How much power play points for Kress? Only 2 power play assists. I guess I'll have to take DePenta off. Yeah, I'm going to take DePenta off because of that. So we will take this and make it Bulbrook on this unit. And then it's... Who is it that has to get moved to the second unit? It was Walter, right? Yeah. So then Walter will get moved to the second unit again. And then we will go back to the first unit and get Aiden Irving back into this spot where Walter is. That's basically the adjustment we need to make. And then hopefully that could help our team spark a little bit better. Because Aiden Irving's the GOAT on this team. And if he's not going to do it either, that would not be great. But he was like friggin' crazy when he was playing early in the season. So I'm expecting some good stuff from him coming back from injury. And then the rest of that's good to go. Okay, perfect. Let's stop the simulation because I cannot see what's happening at all. There you go. Okay. I hate when that happens. Okay, let's go to the 28th and see if we could actually be way above 500 at that point. 5-0 win in Aiden Irving's first game back. You love to see it. Our offense definitely has improved in these first few games since the return of Aiden Irving. So maybe that's exactly what we needed in our lineup, was him back. Because a lot of our wins have been with 5 or more goals so far. So team's starting to heat up at the right time as well. Oh my goodness. This might be the worst. Like, he's going to probably play the least amount of games I've ever seen in a season. Aiden's been now injured with an injured ribs, so I don't know if that's broken ribs or not. It's probably not broken ribs considering it's a low return rate, but he's supposed to come back on the 10th now. Let's just go replace player at that rate, but he definitely helped us out a lot offensively in that month of March. You can see like we had a 5-0 win, an 8-4 win, a 5-2 win, 6-0 win, 3-2 win, 6-0 win, 6-3 win, 7-3 win. But now he's going to be out for another 2 weeks again. 34, 23, and 2. We are not in a wildcard spot yet. We are 5 points back of the Blues with 2 games in hand. And then we're also only 1 point back of the Sharks with multiple games in hand. So we're in a good spot, actually, because we should be able to knock the Sharks out of the playoffs. But our division's kind of running away from us a little bit. But that was a really good stretch of hockey for our team. I just hope that obviously now that Aiden Irving's injured again, that our team doesn't go back to losing games, because obviously that wouldn't be good. Let me take a look at Aiden Irving's stats now. I'm curious on if he was actually the main driver of our offense in those few games, because if he was, we're going to suck so much when he retires. And that's not going to be good. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he was killing it. He came back from literally from injury, and he still continued on that same pace pretty much. 19 goals in 23 games with 31 points. So Aiden Irving is literally the lifeline of this team. If he's injured, our team literally flatlines. If he's in the lineup, our team literally is like, I don't know, like a heart probably on like pure cocaine or something like that, or like on a bunch of like, I don't know, like energy drinks or something like that. God damn. So yeah, we definitely need him back in the lineup as soon as possible, but hopefully he could stay healthy going forward. But this is probably his last season just based on these injuries, my guess, which is not great. So we do have a couple more games still before the deadline, which is good. Let's simulate through those and see if we could win some games without him in the lineup. Maybe the team just all of a sudden got a little bit of a spark even without him scoring goals too. Maybe he was just a presence in the lineup that helped out things. Let's see. Washington 4-2 win and an 8-5 win over New Jersey. Okay, so maybe our team is just picking up the offensive load a little bit too. So all of a sudden we are 36-23-2, which does have us in a wild card spot, which is awesome. And we've played 3 less games than the Sharks, but have the same amount of points. So we just got to keep winning games. Hopefully we do not have a really bad month all of a sudden, because this team has definitely been super, super inconsistent. I don't really know if there's any trades I want to make in the season, because at this rate, I think the team should make the playoffs, but obviously they could fall apart too. But I don't really know where we need to address. Like, we have a legit, forward group. We have a legit defensive core for the most part. Maybe a little lower end of a defensive core than normal, but I think it's okay considering our goaltending's good too. So I don't think I'm going to make any trades this season, and that could be a huge risk, and we could end up missing the playoffs. But I think the team is starting to find itself a little bit. It's just taken obviously a lot longer than usual, probably because we played so many games over the last few years. But I think I'm going to just not make a single trade, and I'm going to advance past the deadline. So we'll see what ends up happening in terms of trades around the league, just in case any former players get dealt. But I am not going to make a single trade. I think we're good. We just got to hope that the sim engine gives us a good playoff run. So Colorado has acquired Damsky in a second for, that's Fairchild, our former guy. Speaking of, he gets dealt to Columbus with Jonathan Lekkerimäki and Denis, which I don't remember if, was Denis? No, Denis was in Philadelphia. I was thinking of the, or not in Philadelphia, in Pittsburgh. That was like the franchise defenseman, I think. But anyways, let's take a look if there was any other guys that got dealt that used to play on our roster. Because there should be some more guys still around the league still that used to play with us, but I don't know for sure. See if there's any names I recognize here. Probably not at this stage too much, but Dylan Genther actually is still out there playing. Interesting. All right. Any former guys that used to play for the Jets get dealt? Dominic Mira. I remember some of these guys, some of these AI names. Not too much of them, though, to be honest. Yeah, there wasn't really too much deadline deals. Okay, that's fine. That is fine. Aiden Irving should be back within a few days, which is great, and then hopefully that sparks our offense even more again. But I think this team is finally starting to turn the page a bit. If we go on a 6-game losing streak, I'm going to be literally a little bit upset. But let's go through these 5 games and just see if this team could actually still win games after that great winning streak. Big Riss in the AHL has been injured. That doesn't matter too much, to be honest. We do beat Carolina. That's good. Bohms has now been injured with the sore knee. We'll just go his player on that strength. And Aiden Irving is returned. He probably got thrown into the lineup. Yes, he did. I know he got put in when Bohms went down. So we'll put Baker in this spot for the time being. I will go back to Blunden on this second line still. Mashenko will come out. In will come Aiden Irving. And then on this lineup, we will put Mashenko down here. And that should be good. Yeah, that's good. Perfect. I need to see what's happening, actually, in terms of sim engine. We are still winning games. We did lose to Pittsburgh, but yeah, this team definitely found itself. It was just a little bit later than usual. We have had 2 losses now in our last 5 games, so now we're kind of back to being a little inconsistent, but I think we should be able to still find that last playoff spot quite easily. We also have a chance that we could easily jump up to 3rd, because the Yotes have 2 more games played than us, but only 2 more points. And then also the Blues have 2 more games played than us, but 1 more point. So we should be able to hypothetically jump up in the standings if we are to win multiple games in a row. So let's go another week at a time. Take it a little bit slow at least, just to see if our team can get going again. Bohms is back. That's good. Even though he's technically a grinder, he has not actually acted like one, which is really weird. Doesn't take a lot of penalties and doesn't fight a lot, I don't think. At least in last episode he was like that. I need to see what's happening again, because for some reason that glitch always happens with the calendar. It's kind of annoying. I don't need Elias Swars, but I will say nice try saying Jose. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. Let's see. Oh, Ivan Kalinin in his first season has gotten injured. That's not great considering he was doing really well. He'll be out till March the 29th, so he will be back for playoffs. But that means Phillips is going to have to get called up as a 67 overall. Yikes. So Toby Phillips will get to play his first NHL game potentially a lot earlier than anticipated. But then again, Bergfist will probably start most of them. But Phillips, he'll come up here. And then the AHL will sign a random dude, Valentenko. We'll throw him in. All right. So that's all good and ready to go. Let's see. 7-5 loss there to the Canucks. But we're 42-26-2. We are now in the third spot in our division, which is good. We've played only one less game than the Yotes now, and we have the same amount of points. So there is a chance that we could still finish in a wildcard spot. And then if you look at the Pacific Division, we have 6 more points with 2 games in hand on the Sharks. So the Pacific isn't super threatening right now. So we should be able to easily clinch the playoff spot, I think, unless this team just has a very bad last 12 games of the year. Let's go to the end of the month and see what happens in these 4 games of the week. 7-2 loss, and Kalinin's already back. Okay, good news. But that's 2 really bad back-to-back games, which is not what I wanted to see from this team. But let's once again edit our lines in terms of the goaltenders. I think Aiden Irving's starting to lose his X factors too. I can't remember how much X factors he had at his peak, but I feel like he's losing X factors, which kind of sucks. Kalinen's back in, that's good. And then we'll get Toby Phillips back into the AHL too, considering he is one of our better goalie prospects technically that we have under contract at the moment. So that's all good and ready to go. 5-3 win there, nice. 3-2 win there. Kalinen's fully healthy, and 4-2 loss. And going into April, we are still in a playoff spot. We're still in the wildcard spot with 90 points in 74 games. We do have games in hand on the Yotes still, and we have a total of 8 games left. Let's see how we do in our first week. We have a game against St. Louis, which is kind of big to see who's in the first wildcard spot and who is in the second one. Nashville, we beat 5-2. Biggers, I don't remember which position this guy plays in the AHL, but I'll throw him in. Must have been on the second line, I would assume. Maybe not. I don't know. Trying to remember where he was slotted in. He is a defenseman, okay. Oh yeah, he might have been on like the top 6 or something instead of Timbolini. I think that's where it was. So we'll get him back in there. Hopefully the AHL's having a good season too, because it looks like some of the prospects are developing quite nicely. OT loss there. 8-6 loss to Buffalo. That's not what I want to see right before the playoffs, guys. Kang's been injured, replaced player. 5-1 win over Seattle. We have not clinched yet, but we're on 95 points in 78 games. I think we should be able to easily get this first wildcard spot. There is still a chance that we could jump up to that other spot too. We could jump up as high as second still with the last few games of the season. But the Sharks are not threatening. They're not going to make the playoffs anymore. So it should be pretty close that we actually lock that last playoff spot down. The Avs are trying to fight to get it back into the playoffs, but I don't know if they'll make it. Let's go through 2 games at a time. So we got Chicago and Calgary. We lose the first one. Walter was never injured. And we lose the other one in a shootout. We have not clinched a playoff spot yet. The Avs are only 5 points back of us, but that won't knock us out of the playoffs, I don't think. Actually, wait, no, the Avs have 3 games left, so they could still technically knock us out. Yikes. Well, that would... Okay, never mind. They didn't knock us out because we just clinched a playoff spot, so that's great. That is huge just because they lost there. They could still knock out the Blues, though, so the Blues might not make the playoffs, but we're 46-30-4. That's good that we clinched the playoff spot. It's been a very weird season. I don't know if we're going to have a good run, but it's better to see what ends up happening. That's why I didn't make any trades. Didn't want to make any too rapid adjustments, and our team missed still. So, there you go. That's good and ready to go. Let's actually just make an adjustment to try and get rid of that minus. Yeah, there you go. We'll go with that for the time being. Perfect. And our last game of the season is also a loss. So we go into the playoffs losing 5 of our last 6 games, which might actually be a blessing in disguise. Maybe actually we lost 6 of our last 7. That actually might be a blessing in disguise. We might actually be underdogs potentially because of that. And we know our team is a lot better than an underdog. So maybe we'll find ourselves in the playoffs. But 46-32-4, which does finish us in that last wild card spot actually in the Western Conference, I think. So Not necessarily a great year, but I expect that our team is going to find itself in the playoffs. Because being a wildcard team, we're going to be that type of team that can knock out like all these top teams, my guess. But I honestly have no idea what this dimension has in store. In terms of the entire league, where did we finish? Probably not too high up, my guess. 11th, not bad. For being a wildcard team and being 11th, that's okay. Offensively, we were one of the better offensive teams in the league, scoring 3.85 goals per game. Okay. Goals against per game, we were actually one of the better defensive teams too. So you can kind of see why I think we might simulate good. Offense is good, defense is solid, and then we were a wild card team. So maybe we could over-simulate in the postseason. We also had an okay power play unit, so that's good. And then the penalty kill was one of the best ones in the league. So there's some good underlining stats with that. We are also the best team in scoring shorthanded goals too. So despite us being 3-5-2 in our last 10 games, I think we could win the first round. That's my prediction right now. But it depends on who we face, I guess, too. In terms of player stats, holy crap, I just saw something I was not expecting. But let's first get to Ludvig Ekholm. 82 points, 82 games. Good season from him. A little bit regression from last year, I think, right? Yeah, 96 last year. But still, Ekholm has been a very consistent player. Love to see it. Bickle on 72 points. He's been good. 56 assists. Jeez. Vernarsky on 27 points in his first season. A -10 isn't great, obviously, but still 27 points. And, yeah, he's basically going to be a really solid third-line center, maybe even a top 6 center at some point. Baker on 2 points in 7 games. Not too bad. Left wing side of things, Blunden had 69 points. That's pretty damn nice. Good stuff from Taylor Blunden. He's developing quite nicely, getting better and better each season. Hopefully he has a good playoffs because he hasn't been necessarily the best playoff player. He's only had 1 goal since his really good first ever playoff performance in 2038. So there's that. Walter on 58 points, 32 goals. Not bad. I guess when he got moved to the top power play unit, he started to score more goals. Obviously, though, 58 points and getting paid $7.2 million, it's a bit steep. So there is still a realistic chance that we might have to trade him away to free up some cap space to get Jacuzzi back in the offseason or something like that. Harrison had 55 points. That is a massive, massive surprise. Plus 27 with 6 short-handed points and 3 short-handed goals. Only averaged 9 minutes of ice time a game. Yet he was really, really good. So Matthew Harrison's looking nice. There's a chance he could be a third-line guy next season, which means if Aiden Irving retires, maybe he's actually like a third-line guy for us. And then that gives Walter the chance to be in the top 6. Will be interesting to see. Boehm's on 16 points, a plus 14, and only 18 penalty minutes as a grinder. I don't mind that. I know he's not going to bring a lot of offense. The defensive play was good. The penalty minute count was low, which is great. Did he have a lot of hits? Probably not. He only averaged 8 minutes of ice time a game. He did also have some short-handed points. Yeah, doesn't throw a ton of hits. 84 hits is not that much. He does have good takeaway numbers too. Never threw a single fight as a grinder too. So Boehm's is an okay player. He's just a body down there. I feel like he's going to want to get paid a lot of money eventually, just because of the elite potential. But he's a useful fourth line guy. Mishenko, 12 points in 41 games, not too bad as a replacement for Aiden Irving. And in the right side of things, Bulbrook had 78 points this year and 44 goals. 17 of those points were on the power play, 9 of those were goals. But that's a massive, massive improvement from Mark Bulbrook. I was thinking of potentially trading him away at some point to free up some cap space, but he's definitely been better in a sense than Walter. Like, that goal scoring jump up is insane. No, from 22 goals to 44. He's been pretty good. He hasn't really done too much this last playoffs, but yeah, that's looking really good. I like that stuff from Bulbrook. Jacuzzi on 72 points. Didn't have as strong as the second half of the season as I would expect, but still pretty good. Kavusari was really good this year as well. Good stuff from Kavusari. A lot of assists. Aiden Irving was absolutely insane. I think this is definitely his last year based on this, because 28 goals in 42 games and 52 points. If he would have played the full season, he would have definitely helped us out quite a bit. But he will at least be healthy for the playoffs, and I'm hoping that he could do really well. Like, he literally had as much goals in 42 games as he did, I think. Yeah, his first season in the NHL, he literally had 29 goals. So in 40 less games, he almost had the same amount of goals. That's insane. So shout out to Aiden Irving, who continues to be the GOAT on this team. Hopefully he could help us out a lot in the playoffs. Waters on 40 points. That's a pretty solid rookie season. 24 goals, too. So I'm liking the way our offense is simulating. I like it. Defensively, Vandermeer on 64 points, plus 29. Maybe a chance to win a Norris. Maybe not, because the point total is a little low. Vesinen on 25 points. Kress on 25 points. So Sasha Kress had a good second half of the season, it seems like, after getting moved away from Vandermeer. DePenta definitely helped out with the offense. So it was a good call to put him in the lineup. 20 points in 49 games. So he is a pending RFA, I think. So we might have to pay him some money. I don't really know if I like that too much, but it's okay. Scarlett on 19 points, and then Backer on 17, but plus 28. Not too bad. Goaltending. Bergqvist had a 901, so his stats got way worse as the season went on, and Kalinen's went to a 902. So that could be because of the last 6 or so games of the season. But yeah, our goaltending really wasn't insane, unless the rest of the league just looks like that too. But offensively good, goaltending not so much. Defense looks good though. In terms of the entire league, Shane Collins for Nashville led, also Avery Boynton and Israel Sparks up there too. So it looks like Arizona and Nashville both really good again this season. Hopefully we can knock them out easily. So there's that. Best goal scorer. Who was the best goal scorer? Yanni Koivisto with 58. Not really a surprise. Let's see. What else do I want to take a look at? Oh, yeah, Selke candidates. Gustav Zikov maybe up there. Connor Bedard up there maybe again as well. All right. Hey, look, there's Quinton Eberle. Wonder how he's been doing in Boston. He's been okay. He's been actually doing relatively well, so shout out to Quinton Eberle. In terms of defense, wow. Torsten Nylander, 99 points and a plus 39. Well, that guy's definitely winning the Norris. No question about it. Dominant defensively and offensively. Tuukka Pirala, who I was looking at potentially maybe bringing in via trade in last episode, was the second best defenseman. Didn't make the playoffs, I don't think, though. And in terms of Vandermeer's stats, he was probably, I would say he was second place for the Norris, just based on the plus-minus department. A little bit less points, still, than Labrie and Pirala. Axel Sandin Pellica was up there. Jordan Goddard. Oof. We traded him to New Jersey. I almost forgot about him going to New Jersey. 60 points in 82 games, but look at the plus-minus. Minus 39. And I think we got an unprotected first from New Jersey, which means him being a minus 39, New Jersey had probably a really rough year, which means we might have a chance at the first overall selection this year. So we'll definitely take a look at that. Gabriel Dag was the best goalie in terms of wins, of course, our former goalie. Him and Bergqvist tied in shutouts. Best save percentage by a starter was Tommy Ladd in Anaheim, but also Dag is up there too. It's probably going to go to Dag, my guess, based on the goals against. Yeah, it's probably Gabriel Dag who's going to win the Vezina this season. I forgot if he won a Vezina with us or not. Wish there was a way to see if he actually did win one with us or not, but you guys could probably remember. And Ezra Yandel likely going to be the Calder winner in Chicago. All right. So my question is, how bad was New Jersey this season? Because we do have, I think, their first round pick. Let's take a look at that here. We have the best odds at the first overall selection this year. I think. I got to double check on that, but I think we have New Jersey's first. Which means if we do, we have the best odds of getting whoever's supposed to go first overall, which I think I looked in between episodes. It might have been a franchise player. I can't remember. I think I did look, but I don't remember who it was. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, it was a medium franchise power forward. So we have the top odds to get Braden Marsh, who is a medium franchise guy. That would be a really nice replacement once Aiden Irving retires. Replace him with Braden Marsh. So we'll see if we end up having a chance to get this guy in a few episodes, depending if we get eliminated from the playoffs early or not. But, wow. I was not expecting to have the top odds to get a good player like that just from trading away Goddard. Because I'm pretty sure we have New Jersey's first, right? Yeah, we do. So we're getting probably an elite player regardless, which is awesome. We also do have our own first. We have some seconds, the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and that's it. Wow. If we end up getting the first overall selection and somehow winning the Stanley Cup in the same year, that would be pretty damn insane. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but it would be pretty insane if that happens. All right, final few things. Let's see who we're playing in the postseason. Also take a look at their stats too so we can better understand them. It's Nashville again. So we are going to be taking on the Preds, who I think might have won the President's Trophy. 54, 23, and 5 on the year. Let's take a look at their season first before we look at their roster and all that stuff. Yeah, they won the President's Trophy, just beating out the New York Rangers for it. One more win in regulation. Jeez, look, their offense was scoring 4.12 goals per game. Their goals against was pretty solid. Good power play. Penalty kill was really good. Yikes. So if we're going to be the cheese team, this is the year to do so. This is the year to do so. We got to believe in that cheese that we had in Halifax and all those Draft to Glory franchise modes that we've done. But let's take a look at their lineup, and then we'll take a look at their player stats from the regular season. What is Nashville looking like? I think they're pretty similar to prior seasons, though. Yeah, Avery Boyden, Roy Motto, and Shane Collins. One of the best top lines you'll probably see in the league at the moment. Nikolai Dadonov, Quinton Byfield's there. What the heck? Okay, I think that's a new addition. Greg Luongo. Byfield was with us way back, right? I think it was in this series, right? Didn't I have him for a little bit? No, it was in my Chicago series. Why am I thinking of my Chicago series all of a sudden from last year? I honestly have no idea. But that is still a very nice top six. Obviously, the center depth is a little bit weak, but still pretty good. Third line, Alexei Novoseltsev, Cole Baudouin, and Brian Bentley. All right. And a fourth line of Pierre Bouillon, Avery Sim, and Mario Goudreau. So they have good depth. And that top six, especially that top line, is really filthy. How old is this top line now? 30, 35. Wow, Roy Motto might be getting close to retirement. And Collins, 31. I don't know if Nashville's won a cup in the series yet. I feel like they haven't. Defensively, Sergei Semin, Colin Fairchild. They also have Philip Johnson and Dmitry Anisimov. I feel like I recognize that name. Did I ever have him? No, I did not. I feel like I've seen him before. Maxime Lachance and Pascal Levasseur. Huh. Okay, so that's their defensive core. Not the best defensive core on paper. And then their goaltending, Kim Rodin. So they still have Kim Rodin and Vyacheslav Kalinin. So it's two young Kalinin goalies going up against each other as backups. Interesting. So they don't have the best defensive core. They have solid goaltending, and then they have a good forward group. So it's going to be interesting to see if we could beat them or not. I do want to take a look at their player stats from the season, though, because we know that their top line could do a lot of damage, but not too sure on who else does a lot of damage on that roster. So if we look at their forward group, Collins had 124 points, Boyden had 120, Motto had 110. So yeah, that top line is pretty much carrying this team based on those plus minuses as well. And then that second line had some solid offense, like Luongo was good, Dadonov was good, Byfield was solid, Bentley was actually pretty good too. But look at the plus minus on some of these guys too. So these guys were definitely out there for a lot more goals against than the rest of that top line. And in the defensive side of things, Colin Fairchild apparently could actually bring some good offense, so he's pretty good. Semin could bring some as well. Really good plus minus on those two guys. And Isimov and Johnson, kind of solid top six defensive options in terms of points, but good plus minus. And yeah, that Levasseur-Lachance pairing is where we could maybe take advantage because they weren't too good. Goaltending, Rodin had a 910, so he had some really good save percentages. Goals against was a little high, but his save percentage was good. And Kalinin, their backup, was actually really good too with save percentage. So a little bit of an interesting roster, I would say, for sure, on paper. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to the first round of playoffs against a stacked top line of the Nashville Predators, as we look to contain them and be the cheese team that is in the wildcard spot that somehow goes on to win the Stanley Cup. Because if we could do that and then somehow win that draft lottery, that might be one of my greatest wins of all time, so to speak. Send anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.